This video is for you if you've ever been one of those people standing in the lumber yard or the hardware store wondering which wood is going to give you the most value for your money. I've built 100 fences plus out of all three of these different woods. They're not the same, and in this video I'm going to arm you with the knowledge you need to make the right choice for your particular situation. Stick with me. My name's Andrew Shreves, and I've been replacing and fixing fences for about 6 years now. I've seen how all of these different woods hold up from a strength and from a longevity perspective, so I'm going to let you in on all the secrets. Let's go. All right, let's start off with pressure treated pine. Probably the most common, maybe tied with real cedar of the two. It is the most affordable option, and that greenish hue you see is because pressure treated pine comes pre-treated with chemicals to resist mildew and rot and insects, termites, carpenter ants, etc. It's prone to warping and twisting, especially in very hot climates, depending on the sun exposure. I've seen a few treated pine fences that maybe 2-3 years in already had some significant warps to the point where some of the pickets were warping so badly they needed replaced. It's super solid if you've got a big yard, 100 feet, and you're counting every dollar. This is a good way to bring down the total expenditure of a fence. Great for rental properties. Doesn't ever really need stained for protection, but after about 90 days of drying out in the sun, it can be stained if you want a different aesthetic. Again, a good reliable option, affordable, prone to some twists and warps. You might have to replace a few pickets along the way, but that is going to pale in comparison to the initial cost savings if you don't mind the beauty that you're giving up by not going with red cedar. That's pressure treated pine. Next up, Western red cedar or true cedar. It's the prettiest. It stays straighter for longer without warps. It soaks up stain better and has a more uniform look when stained. It's naturally insect and rot resistant. And I know I already said this once, but it's just much prettier. If you have a fence in your backyard and it's a home you plan to live in for a long time, and you want the fence to add something to the backyard instead of just existing and sealing off the property, Western red cedar is the way to go. It's got that classic smell, like when you go in a hotel sauna. Smells great, doesn't wick up and hold water as long as the other two, doesn't warp like the other two. I mean, it's just that classic, beautiful look. It adds curb appeal, it adds longevity, and it adds uniformity of stain acceptance. A properly built Western red cedar fence, stained regularly, depending on the sun, that could be one year, that could be 8 years, stained regularly, can easily last you 2 or 3 decades. Beautiful wood, great, but probably twice the price of the treated pine and another 50% more expensive than the Japanese cedar. So it's all a balance. I mean, if you've got a rental home, I might not go for this. You're throwing money away for nothing. If you've got a fence inside your fence that's maybe just supposed to close off some livestock, or you've got a little kennel run type thing for your dog, I probably wouldn't go with this. It's best to use Western red cedar in public facing areas where you want the beauty to excel. It's much easier to look at, it lasts a lot longer, it's less prone to warps, it accepts stain better without any stain or chemicals. It's naturally insect and rot resistant. One of my favorites, a crowd favorite for decades for a reason. That's Western red cedar or true cedar. If you don't mind, and this video has taught you anything already, consider subscribing to the channel, leaving a comment. I appreciate your time. And lastly, Japanese cedar. Relatively newer to markets here in North America. It stays straighter than pine, but it's more affordable than cedar. It technically is a cedar tree that this comes from. While it doesn't accept stain as well as red cedar, it's got kind of a honey brown and even pinkish color in some parts of the grain and does accept stain rather well. I can tell you, in the time I've bought these Japanese cedar pickets for jobs, I'm always impressed at the consistency and uniformity. With treated pine, even buying them in the store, even at the store, you're already going to find some that are split in half down the wood grain mark, or they're already warped, or they have a big knot missing. I find these are really uniform and easy to purchase because of the uniformity. They're easy to transport because they're so lightweight. Now, speaking on durability, Japanese cedar is somewhere between the other two. It might not last quite as long as red cedar, but if you stain it properly and take care of it, it might last a little longer than treated pine. And even if it lasts the same amount as treated pine, it's much prettier and less prone to warpage and having you call fence techs out for service calls to replace 3 to 5 pickets every year. Lot lower maintenance, lot prettier, lasts just about as long, if not a little longer, than the pressure treated pine. So if you want a happy middle ground that looks good, stays straight, and doesn't completely obliterate your budget, Japanese cedar is not a bad choice. Not all Lowe's and Home Depots have these, so make sure you go online and find a branch location of your nearest hardware store, home improvement store, or even lumberyard, and make sure they do have Japanese cedar. It's the sweet spot between the two, and that's why it earned a place in this comparison. I'll be honest with you, For every 100 fences I see of treated pine and red cedar, I might see 25 Jap cedar. They're just not all that common. But like I said, it's a newer material. In summation, if you're on a budget and don't mind a little twisting and warping and maybe some replacing of the pickets down the line, want to save money up front, treated pine is probably your best bet. If you've got the money to spend and it's your lifetime home or a fence that you care about, go with the red cedar. It's prettier, it soaks up stain better, it resists rot and insects better. It's just got that curb appeal. It's beautiful, but it is costly. If you want a middle option that stays straighter than pine, but is more affordable than red cedar, give Japanese cedar a try. It's not some newfangled product that people are getting burnt on. It's a solid wood. It's just harder to find and not as common. There's not as much info out there about it. It depends on your budget, your parameters for the fence you're building, what you value. Personally, I would rather you know why you're choosing the material you're going to use for your fence pickets rather than just which one to choose based on what the Home Depot or Lowe's employees said after asking you 3 questions. If you're planning a fence build, check out this video, which is a step-by-step guide to building a fence. I build it board-on-board overlap. It's done in 6-inch treated pine pickets. And if you're not sure what stain to go for, this is a comparison video I made comparing oil and water-based stains, as well as getting into the differences between transparent, semi-transparent, and solid stains. Subscribe to the channel if this helped you at all, and I'll see you on the next one.